Right, let's talk about Arsenal beating Watford 1-0. Listen, yeah, that was wasn't a vintage performance. It wasn't one of those. But today, listen, there's not going to be any real complaints from me. It's just going to be positivity because Watford, they came here today, sucked the life out of the game. They were like a vacuum. They took all the energy, all the intensity out of the game, especially in that first half. I felt like, I wanted Arsenal to force the issue in the game a little bit more because I felt like we let Watford take the sting out of the game and we needed to put sting into the game. I wanted Arsenal to be a bit more direct, play through the lines a little bit more. It was a bit too side to side. It was letting Watford with that deep block, kind of 4 and a 5 it seemed, get in the way and get their shape. And I wanted Arsenal to be a bit quicker with everything. And we didn't do that. But ultimately, I don't think Arsenal are at the level yet where we can disrupt other teams' game plans as easily as some of the top teams. So, for example, look, Liverpool, I know they're a different level right now, but a team like Liverpool, you look at them, it doesn't really matter who comes up against them. It's like they say in boxing, everyone's got a plan till you get punched in the face, and Liverpool punch you in the face repeatedly and your plan goes out the window. Arsenal don't have that level, in my opinion, of threat where you can just pull a team apart. So I was slightly disappointed, but I'm also appreciative of where Arsenal are in their journey. And I think you can look at it that way in terms of what Arsenal didn't do today. But I'd rather look at it in the sense that, well, look what Arsenal limited Watford to. Watford obviously came with a plan to be very resilient and take the life out of the game, but they didn't carry any threat. And I think Arsenal deserve credit for that in terms of our defensive work, in terms of how well set up we were as well. What was the outstanding moment for Aaron Ramsdale in this game? What save did he make? Was there any last minute blocks by our defenders? Was there ever really I think there was a moment in the first half, Cooker I think got through and that was about it. I just don't think Watford threatened us enough. And yes, we can turn around and criticise Watford for that, or we can turn around and praise Arsenal for that, praise the system and how the defence performed. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say Arsenal did that part of it very well. Obviously now, if that's Arsenal defensively, we can talk about Arsenal going forward. And clearly we should have converted more of our attacking threat into goals today. Aubameyang clearly had a stinker, missed penalty. For the Saka disallowed goal, his touch was awful. Saka should never even have been in with a sniff of taking that off Aubameyang's toe. Aubameyang's touch should have been much better and he should have converted that himself. But because of a bad first touch, Saka scored the goal. And obviously I need to see replays because I've been at the ground. But it seemed to me as though if Aubameyang's touch was better and he finished it, that would have been a valid goal. It's only because Saka got brought into the game because of a bad touch by Aubameyang that he was the one that was offside. So that was another moment of Aubameyang. And then the third one to complete his hat-trick of nightmares was Ødegaard's brilliant effort that seemed to be going into me, and we were all celebrating. I didn't even think, being in the ground, that Aubameyang had a touch on that, but clearly he did, and he almost stole a goal off of Ødegaard, which was so frustrating. Because, going into those last 10 minutes, you get very nervous when it's only one goal. And we were lucky, I guess. Well, I say we were lucky. No, we were good defensively, but just kind of felt like times like that, when you go into the last 10 minutes, only one goal, you fail to convert your chances, then you are relying on, not a magic moment or not a mistake or something that takes 2 points away from you. So in that sense, I say we were lucky. But look, we absolutely deserved the win today. You cannot make a case for Watford deserving anything out of that game. And on that basis, I think you have to give Arsenal their dues today because, yes, it wasn't vintage, I accept that, but when you're at home and you're playing a team and they do not have basically any threat and you cannot make a case for them getting anything out of the game, to me that tells me, as the home team, you've done your job. Now look, let's talk about a few of the standout players today. Let's talk about Ainsley Maitland-Niles because he wants to be a centre mid. That's where he says he wants to play. He was given that role in centre mid today, alongside someone he hasn't really played with in centre mid as well. And not only that, he's come in sort of cold. It's not like he's been having a run in the first team in any position where he then has to, do a job in centre mid. he's been on the sidelines and now he's come in and been asked to do a job, and he did really, really well. In the first half, I think he was one of our best players. If you look at the Saka disallowed goal, that was all Maitland-Niles' great work. He won the ball really, really well with some really good high pressing on the edge of the Watford box, and then played a lovely ball. I think it was into Lacazette, who obviously spun and played the ball across. That was all Ainsley Maitland-Niles' work. Aside from that, some very nice touches in the middle of the park, and I thought he put himself about really well. So I think he deserves a lot of credit. And this isn't to say that, look, it was a man of the match performance, or it isn't to say that this is going to be one that people are going to make in compilations of or anything like that. I'm not getting carried away. What I'm saying, in context of a player who hasn't been playing 90 minutes week in, week out, I thought he came in and did much better than I expected today. And on that basis, I give him a lot of credit. Now, the other player I'll talk about, and I sound like a broken record because all season I have been saying this, Emile Smith-Rowe has been, for me, Arsenal's player of the season so far. Every single week, he makes a difference. You know, even in the games, first 3 games of the season when we weren't playing well, I just remember watching him and thinking, well, who's playing at a better level than the rest of the team? And today he was the match winner. He, you know, forget the goal. That's almost his job to be there edge of the box, time his runs a little bit, make sure he gets some shots off. One moment of his where Watford were on the counter-attack, and I'll have to watch a replay to see just how many yards Emile Smith-Rowe covered, but in his own box, he managed to get back, intercept the ball, just nick it away and deviate the ball from its normal path and prevent Watford scoring what would have been a surefire goal. It's things like that where I just think Emile Smith-Rowe deserves a lot of credit, because he might not do flashy stuff, he might not kind of be doing the step overs and all of that sort of thing, but he's so effective, works so hard, covers so much ground. Territorially, he brings us up the pitch, he works back. I'm full of praise for him. I think he's done brilliantly. And let's not forget that, you know, he's not a seasoned pro as well. So Smith-Rowe was another one that really impressed me as well. And Tomiyasu, a lot of people have been asking a couple of questions about him. He got forward in moments today, very solid at the back. He's a defender first. I love that. So yeah, look, it was all round very, very good. Have to say, I feel very sorry for Ødegaard with Aubameyang stealing his goal. Aubameyang, you need to go and buy Ødegaard something nice, you know, a nice little gift, something flashy to make up for it, because Ødegaard, he deserved that. He really did deserve that goal. Anyway, listen, what I want to say now before I go, we are 10 games unbeaten. If you can't give Mikel Arteta some credit now, after going 10 games unbeaten after that start to the season, it says more about you than it says about Mikel Arteta. I still don't think Arteta's necessarily the man. You know, I think, like, obviously Barcelona have appointed Xavi. If they were looking at all the managers in the world, would they be putting Arteta at the top of the list? No, clearly not. There are better managers out there, I accept that. But as Arsenal fans, it's about time we started giving Arteta some credit. It's about time we started admitting that the stuff that we said in the past about Arteta needs to go and that sort of thing, and I was one of them. I've always said that if I wake up to the news that he's been sacked, I wouldn't have an issue with it. Actually, do you know what? I think now I would, because 10 games unbeaten and he's got this team playing, he's got us defensively resolute. I'm not saying that he's definitely the answer, but I'm saying it makes me pause for thought. It makes me think, actually, you know, could Arteta be turning this around now? Let's start giving Arteta some credit. Let's start giving this team some credit. Hopefully we can just continue this. But after 10 games unbeaten, I think you need to start being fair to the manager, fair to the players, and say, well done. Do you know what I mean? So listen, well done, Mikel Arteta. Long may it continue. Up the Arsenal.